To some other news now, a back and forth between the Pharmacy Board and the Ministry of Health may result in a shortage of pharmaceutical narcotics nationwide if a conflict is not resolved soon. As Jonathan Chase tells us, many of the country's pharmacies have not had their licenses renewed and wholesalers are denying them access to certain drugs. We have more in this story.
These are applications for licenses for different classes of drugs. They are at the center of a conflict that could see pharmacies, private hospitals and patients short of pharmaceutical narcotics. In Monday's daily newspapers, the Ministry of Health published full-page ads alleging that numerous complaints over the issuing of licenses have been made. The notice advises pharmacists with issues to apply to a judge in chambers to have the matter resolved. Pharmacy Board President Andrew Rahman says there's a backlog at the Ministry of Health and that the Drug Inspectorate Division tasked with approving and granting the licenses is accepting only 5 submissions per day. He says since he began submitting applications for over 200 pharmacies for 2014 licenses on January 5th, none have been approved.
The result of it is that pharmacies have been calling me and complaining that they cannot get their narcotic drugs from wholesalers.
Why?
I was told that the ministry issued a directive. Somebody in the ministry, they were not able to identify, or they were not willing to identify who it was, issued a directive not to give the usual grace period to pharmacies.
Pharmaceutical narcotics like Panadine F, Petadine and morphine are typically used for patients with severe pain or as pre- and post-operation medications. If licenses aren't processed or the grace period isn't reinstated, there will be a shortage of those drugs available for pharmacies and private hospitals to purchase.
Admittedly, in relation to the other licenses, the forbearance remains. So in the absence of pharmacies having their 2014 licenses for antibiotics, controlled drugs and pesticides, they are still able to obtain these items from wholesalers.
Pharmacy Board elections will be held in late February, at which point this conflict may come to an end. Jonathan Chase, C News.
Now to shed some light on this matter, we've got with us on the line the Minister of Health, Dr. Fuad Khan. Good evening, Dr. Khan, and could you tell us whether or not citizens and patients should be concerned about a possible shortage of pharmaceuticals?
Well, first I say good night and thanks for calling, because I was just listening to what was going on. There will not be a shortage because there is a grace period of 3 months until March for the wholesalers to supply those narcotics to the pharmacies. What is happening here? Well, is the pharmacies are supposed to apply for the narcotic license. The narcotic license are supposed to be given from the 1st of January onwards to the December 31st. The Drug Inspectorate, I must admit, there is a shortage of personnel and staff because the remunerations for the personnel are so low that nobody wants to take up the jobs in the ministry. So we have to make do what we have. The five licenses and applications, that has only been done because of recently some of the people are on sick leave. Mr. Rahman, unfortunately, seems to be using this to lobby support for the elections coming up. This is a perennial problem and it occurs all the time. So there is that grace period and there will not be any shortages.
So is it that the personnel shortage is leading to a backlog? And if you're saying that this is a regular problem, what is being done to address this though?
I'm not hearing you too well, Disha.
Would you be able to tell us what is being done to address this problem that you are saying is a recurring one?
Well, we have looked at the matter at the Drug Inspectorate, and what we have found is that Mr. Rahman is the person who seems to want to deal only and solely with the Drug Inspectorate, insofar that he has issued letters to pharmacies to sign so he can authorize him to pick up these licenses or to put in the applications. That is basically unheard of, and I think they're charging $150, which is really not legal. But once a pharmacy has to have a license, the pharmacist has to go for the narcotic license or designate someone. Mr. Rahman has taken on himself to go ahead and do that for himself. And The Drug Inspectorate personnel really and truly do not like dealing with Mr. Rahman because of what they've indicated some attitude problems.
So, Dr. Khan, basically you're saying this situation that is unfolding right now is as a result of the elections that is supposed to happen soon, so it's just being politicized and nothing to worry about?
There is nothing to worry about. There is a grace period until March, and there will be no shortages. Anybody who has a problem could write the minister or write the permanent secretary or call into the ministry, and we'll see how best we can help them if the pharmacy board can't do it.